Howdy, homesteaders. Now what we're going to do today is we're going to move the rabbit hutch to the new property. Here we have the rabbit hutch that I built and designed myself. It's basically a design that I came up with, and I designed the entire thing inside of Scetchup, for personal use. And Scetchup is a three-dimensional computer-aided drawing program. Very excellent program. I highly recommend it. And what it allowed me to do is it allowed me to make little models of each one of these boards. The 2x4s, which are actually like 1.5 or 1 3/4 or whatever it is, by 3.5 or 3 3/4, whatever that is. But I just went to the big box hardware store website, found out what the actual size is for their boards, plugged that into the program, made my boards, and then once I had the boards made, I was able to put them in a way that I thought made sense. And it looks like a little bit of a picnic table design, because that's actually what I had in mind when I was designing it. Is I wanted something that was strong, something that had braces, something that wasn't going to fall apart. This entire thing is put together with nails, all nailed together. I don't have any screws at all. It's all nailed. And the roof is the only thing that I regret. Is I did buy an asphalt roof, which probably would have been fine, but I didn't take into account how flimsy it was. So it actually kind of caved in right here. I don't know if you can see any of that, but it's caved in right there. And I just need to put some cross supports in there to hold it back up. I got it because the guy said it's supposed to be good for life. But I guess that assumes that you put in the supports correctly, which I did not do. So I'm going to fix that at a later time. But basically it's just a nice little hutch to put these cages in here. The cages are custom made also. I made those myself using basically just animal wire fencing and J-hooks, or J-clips, as they're more accurately called, J-clips. And I just got them all J-clipped together, and I basically made those myself also. So it's a nice little project that I did. I think this whole thing I've got, with just the hutch itself, maybe $200 in materials. My own personal time invested. And then as far as the cages, I don't know, I probably got about $60 wrapped up in that maybe. So just under $300, I got the whole thing done. And then I got the water bottles, feeding troughs. So this is basically a pretty nice little design. And even though it's all put together with nails, because of how I put it together, it's all extremely rugged. I built this thing years and years ago, and it's still holding together pretty well. So that's the rabbit hutch, and we're going to move it to the new property. And I have a plan for that. I've taken my truck and I've backed it up the hill. And I've got my safety brake on. It's obviously in park. And I also have these little safety chocks under each side, under the back tires. The last thing I want is for this thing to go rolling down the hill into the creek down there. That would be a disaster. I also have the front wheels turned, so if it did start rolling, it probably wouldn't go down the hill so much as go sideways and maybe careen right into my building right there, which I don't really like the idea of that happening. But that little building getting hit is a lot better than losing my truck or having it running into the house, right? Or worse yet, if it ran into somebody as they were passing by, that'd even be a worse disaster. So that's what I got here. I got the truck backed up here. I'm going to use my trusty little dolly. This thing has really been good. I got it at a nice bulk big box store, I guess you want to call it. They specialize in bulk items, and I got this there. Really trusty, very well made. Very pleased with that. I'm going to use that for my dolly so I don't break my back too bad. And aside from all this, I have my wife to help me. And you know, you don't want to put too much work on your spouse, on your wife, because, you know, the Bible does say that they are the weaker vessel, and you need to take that into account. So, you know, I'm the stronger vessel, so I'm the one, I need to volunteer for all the punishment, all the grueling hard work, things like that. This is my beautiful wife. So she will helping me a little bit, but not so much. I'll be doing most of it. And maybe she could be my camera person.
That's good. I can do that.
All right. Okay, and as far as everyone else, you know, you can sit back and relax and enjoy things from the comfort of your living room, and you know, and feel free to point out all the things I'm doing wrong and the things that you would do better. All right, well, the first thing I'm going to try is I'm simply just going to try lifting this up, putting my dolly in place, and just seeing if I can't tilt it backwards. Something tells me it might not work, but why not? Give it a shot. All right. Got that there. It went under it. That was bad. Here, it needs to be right there. So, okay. This might be difficult. At the moment, I don't see a better way to do it.
Oh, it's working, dear.
Yes, it's working so far. Okay, got it onto the truck bed. That seemed to work out fairly nicely. Okay, this might be the end of that participation. Nice upend it and push it in. I think I need to get up there at this point and pull it in. Let's get it over this part. There we go. I need to get back out. Yeah. Whew, mid-40s. That's pretty good. It's off the ground. I got to get over the wheel hump, which means I have to get back in there again. Yeah, I actually thought that I'd have trouble shutting the tailgate here. I didn't believe I actually could, and it turns out that I can't. It's actually sticking out too far to close the tailgate. So I'm just going to use my ratchet straps, ratchet in nice and tight, and I'll be ready to go down the road. Don't care, don't need a tailgate, it's not going anywhere. Okay, so now we're gonna motor on down the road. Which, you know, I guess you could say I might have almost forgot something, because I almost did forget something. But we don't have time for a memory lapse. But, you know, how can you forget a time lapse? Okay, we had a little bit of a technical difficulties with the time lapse. I ran out of memory on my phone. Okay, so hopefully I'll try not to have a memory lapse and forget about our time lapse later. Okay, now that we're here at our new property, this is actually your first time on our property. I guess I say it's our new property, but actually once we tell the backstory on it, it's more like our older property. We actually lived here for about a year as renters, and now we're owners. So maybe we'll share that story in the future. So here we are. Everything made it. Everything made it very well. And I have the dolly secured in here with a bungee strap. It's good to have some bungee cords and cargo straps. You never know when you're going to use them. I use them very frequently. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take all this apart and take it out and just run the video in reverse. No?
No.
No?
No.
Yeah, it's not going to work, is it? I guess I'll have to work hard and take it off the truck. Yeah. And that's how I put the rabbit hutch in place for future reference. As I took that off, I now realize that if I would have put this on before I put it on the truck, it would have been slightly easier. Alright, so there you have it. My rabbit hutch is in place. So that wasn't too bad, not too shabby. You know, as you can tell, just kind of making it up as I go. And a lot of times when you're doing work, that's what you do. I mean, if you've done enough jobs here and there, done enough things, things come to memory, you start learning a certain pattern of doing things. But for the most part, you just kind of make it up as you go. And you kind of go with that. Right now I'm going to ask my wife to move over here towards the truck. And the only reason why I asked her to do that is because about a week or so ago, she noticed that there is a rattlesnake in the building just behind those doors right there. That there's actually a rattlesnake in there. So I didn't want her to stand next to those doors, you know, because I love my wife and I don't want anything to happen to her. But at some time in the future, I'm going to go in there looking for that rattlesnake and deal with it. Just not today. And maybe I'll bring you with me. I got to send my GoPro. Actually, I sent my GoPro in today to get serviced or replaced. And then once I get the replacement back from that, hopefully that won't have any issues. And I'll use that to videotape that escapade. But until then, I think I'm going to avoid the rattlesnake for now. So we got home and I realized I did have a memory lapse and I did forget the other time lapse. Sorry.